Well, I have to say I've been drafted, folks, so if you're interested in what's happening here, oh boy, be prepared because this is sponsored content. So you can check this out in the description below. I was asked to take a look at Astral Chronicles, a new mobile game that has recently come out, and I figured, hey, okay, if they want me to do that, I will document what I'm doing, at least my thoughts and opinions. That means, maybe some critiques as well, but still, let's take a look at Astral Chronicles and just see what is going on here, shall we? The first thing I will say when you first start the game is that you're greeted with a very interesting cutscene with a lot going on, and also a lot of people screaming at me for some reason. Even more surprising for me, though, was the amount of text that was actually involved in this game. I thought it was going to be just very battle-heavy and much more inspired in that regard, but instead I found myself in a really big RPG story that was kind of tropey. I don't want to spoil it too much if you actually want to get in and play yourself, but let's just say that there is a bit of amnesia, some time travel involved, but thankfully, as time goes on, you actually get to some serious moments, and you start to see a little bit more of the charm that the game actually has, at least what I enjoyed. I especially like the humor that is kind of involved with this, in that they don't play it too seriously. In fact, a lot of the time they'll give you some options, some dialogue choices, and things like that. And if you actually end up going with the more awkward sounding ones, or the ones that you don't think would actually progress the story, it tends to lead to some funny or just downright weird moments, and I did appreciate that amount of charm there. They even went so far as to specifically mark one for me that told me that if I didn't actually pick that one, nothing would progress, so thanks for that. Pretty hilarious there. But on the opposite side of things, I did notice that there were a few small issues that I just want to critique real quick so the developers will know. After playing about 3 or 4 hours, we noticed that there were slight little translation issues that were popping up every so often that included things like small little typos and some sentences being worded a little bit weirdly. But hopefully that can be patched out pretty easily. It shouldn't be too much of an issue to just go in there and, change it up a little bit. Again, just small little things that we noticed as we were going through and editing this video. And as you're going through the story, you're going to notice that your character's actually traversing in this little world, and that there's quest hubs, and you're kind of going more in an MMO style format. So instead of just popping open a menu, selecting the quest, and then going straight into a battle, you're going to actually be traveling from a city to another city and going to meet the NPC that is going to be giving you this quest. Then you actually go out there. It feels more like an MMO, as I said. And honestly, it kind of feels like the world's been a little bit more lived in as well. You start to see like monsters on the horizon, so you'll know if you're going to go over there, if you want to interact with them. You'll also see other players occasionally, which is kind of cool too. But world traversal and all that fun stuff is nothing without a good battle system, and that is something I wanted to explore when it came to Astral Chronicles. This is very much a joystick game, meaning that you're going to be holding down one finger to move your character via joystick, a virtual one, and then you're also going to be using other mechanics to make sure your character attacks. Things like simply tapping an enemy character as you're running along, and of course your character has special abilities that they learn as they level up, and these are drawn on. Basically, when you need to use them, you draw a formation, a circle, an arrow, something like that, and your character then uses that ability in battle. So putting 2 and 2 together, you can kind of understand what's going on. You're going to be running around, making sure you're dodging all these AoEs while also drawing things on your tablet to make sure your character is doing these attacks. It's not exactly the most amazing battle system, but it is something that I found moderately enjoyable and something that at least could keep me going. And hey, if you aren't really interested in doing any of the battles yourselves, there is of course the auto battle system, which will take out any of the work involved when it comes to doing any of this. Well, at least when it comes to grinding quests and other things like that. Your main character yourself actually gets the option to pick what class you are going to be when you start the game. This includes things like a tank-like system and guardian, a healer, enchanter, and of course DPS like archers, sorcerers, and just swordsmen. But character customization does not necessarily end there. There's also, of course, advanced skill trees to go through, just to make sure your units are as strong as they possibly can be for any situation. You can improve your allies through these, collecting items, using them in there, and just in general improve them, as well as equip them with weapons and all sorts of other stuff, the typical RPG affair that you would come to be accustomed to. It's all there in Astral Chronicles. So you have a little bit of choice when it comes to what you're going to be doing as your main character, but you also are going to be having AI allies who will be helping you out in these battles, and you have the option to select when they're going to be using their specials, and it generally works out fairly well, but I do have some little critiques, just like last time, that I want to just point out real quick. The battle system is fun, but I find that the AI can be a little bit hard to handle sometimes, mostly because they tend to crowd around the enemy, and it's really hard to see what's really going on a lot of the time with all the special effects going on. So I feel spacing them out a bit, maybe so they don't all crowd around the enemy like they do right now, may go a long way to at least seeing visually what's happening a little bit easier. Not only that, but I've noticed that the AI tends to stand in AoEs from time to time, and I feel that stems kind of from them crowding around enemies as well. But thankfully, when it comes to summoning, there's actually a lot more going on there, and yes guys, there is a gacha system in Astral Chronicles, and yes, that is how you're going to be getting those additional AI companions, and I will say that the summoning system in Astral Chronicles seems to be a bit more generous. Instead of the typical 1% that I've seen from a lot of other games, we actually have 3%, not exactly a huge climb, but considering that these tend to be rare units that people spend quite a lot of money on, it's at least a decent-sized adjustment there. And yes, summoning does yield some very strange characters. There's all sorts of designs from what I saw, and a lot of the art is actually quite astounding. It's really well done, very original, and very specific to this world that it's living in. It's filled with bizarre characters, I will say, as they pop up and tell me weird things, but it's at least got its charms going on there. And as time went on, we actually did get a lot more time and chance to actually summon. They kept giving us tickets through story and things like that. A lot of quests yielded a lot of ability to be able to just simply roll once or twice and see what pops up. And we actually got quite lucky in a lot of our pools, so that was at least a bonus. We got several SSR characters and had a decent team makeup by the end of it. All in all, I felt it was decent enough at the start. They definitely gave you quite a few summoning tickets so you could at least try and attempt to see what you can get. Not only that, but they also have a special little summoning system that you can actually use right now once you complete Chapter 2 that will get you a guaranteed SSR, which is kind of cool. When it comes to Astral Chronicles at the end of the day, though, I have to say it was fun for what I had, and it was definitely something that was a decent enough time waster that I would enjoy and probably pop in from time to time and play. Astral Chronicles does have its downfalls, but it is something that I think can be patched pretty easily and hopefully will not blemish it too much. As time goes on, I think this game will actually grow a lot more, and if you're interested at all, I strongly recommend at least just trying it out and seeing what it's all about. You might have some fun. So, that is me taking a look at Astral Chronicles, and of course you can check this out in the description below. Just click the links and try it out yourself. What'd you guys think? Have you tried this game out? I would love to hear it in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.